Today, I'd like to review for you a book I've been reading, which I've quite enjoyed, which is called Lustrum. It's actually the second book in Robert Harris's Cicero trilogy, which covers the life of Marcus Tullius Cicero, who was a great Roman orator and lawyer, but predominantly really a politician. He was very much a supporter of the Roman Republic and a resistor, if you like, of the dictatorship that eventually was imposed by Julius Caesar. So, anyway, something about Robert Harris. Robert Harris has written a number of books. His first was a book called Fatherland, which is in the alternate history genre. It was a very successful book, had been made into a film back in the 1990s. His second book, Enigma, discussed, or was a romantic story really, of fiction, but based again in the history of the development of the code-breaking apparatus of Bletchley Park during the Second World War, how the Enigma machines were broken. That was again another exciting book and made into a film. His third book, Archangel, was an interesting story deriving from a conspiracy theory that Stalin had a secret son who was hidden somewhere near Archangel, and that he would return and take over the Soviet Union. This book was again turned into a film starring Daniel Craig, and was reasonably true to the book. So, on to Lustrum and where we are here. Now, Harris, after this, has sort of delved into the history of Rome, or Italy really, and gave us a book called Pompeii about the eruption of Vesuvius. To do that, he had to do quite a bit of research. And one of the things that's a bit of a feature of Robert Harris's books is the depth of research he goes to give you a really strong sense of what the place was like, what it was really like. You can almost smell it, you can hear it, you can taste it. It's quite visceral in that way. So he tells the story in a marvellous way. So the story of Cicero is told from the point of view of his servant Tyro, who's his secretary and a slave. Tyro speaks to us using his normal voice, or his voice in speaking to us is he's speaking to us as though we're another Roman citizen. As though we're a Roman citizen, and we understand how things should be playing out, and how it is that Cicero is going about it in a strange way, or how he's laying out his plots. The story is very it's quite sinister in places. It's certainly Machiavellian. Some of the plots would put Machiavelli to shame. The way that the story is told is really gripping, really gripping. And because Tyro talks to us as though we're Roman citizens, we get his shock and surprise when Pompey, having finally entered Rome at the head of his armies and brought home all his prisoners who he's captured, when he's having conquered hundreds of countries, brings his prisoners down to the Carnifex, to where the expectation of the crowds, having been throwing dung and mud at them all the way through this procession, which has taken 2 days to pass through the gates because it's so big a procession, he surprises everybody by just letting them go home and not strangling them like everybody else does. Quite extraordinary. Again, we're given as well this insight into what in Roman life they're the gods. And Roman piety, or being God-fearing meant being God-fearing about all sorts of gods. So the priestesses, different politicians are actually head priests of this order or that. High priestesses are the wives of important politicians, and they have to have ceremonies in their own houses. The colour, the life of the place is brought. He brings the life out. He brings out a feeling of actually being there, actually being able to see the sights and sounds and experience the tension and drama of ancient Rome in its politics, and appreciating that. Appreciating that just as another human being. It's a marvellous book. It's a gripping read, and I would really recommend it to you all.